it has to be moving to LA and kind of like booking Neds, man.
Because I'm a big fan of pushing people to work harder.
Yes.
So one thing on this, and I think you're the first person I really want to do this with, because as we created the Rodriguez project,
Yes,
and
sir.
it being something like live a life worth writing a movie about, is the foundation that I think in life, taking risks and everything as well. But I wanted to start something. I got every film that I write, I start with an outline, right? And you write too as well, right?
Yep.
And now with the new music, which we're gonna
Good Valley, we'll talk about.
But say your movie, your life as a movie, or maybe a movie that is inspired by your life. Starts off with 100-year-old you.
Okay.
In a voiceover. And they're describing the opening scene of your film, right? The opening image. Where and what do you see as your opening scene?
By the time I'm 100, it might change. I might start the movie at a point in my life that I haven't reached yet, It might start with my kids. It might start with some shit that has yet to come. But as of right now, it has to be moving to LA and kind of like booking Neds, man. Like that's where the legend of me begins, There's my personal life, there's my family, there's stuff, but like where the overall story and one of the main themes and waves and dreams of my life, it's moving to LA when I was a kid with my family to come pursue acting, to come pursue a life that's not normal, to come pursue a life of dreams. And yeah, that would have to be where it starts.
And what age was that?
I was 12.
12.
I was 11 the first pilot season I came to LA, and then 12 I booked Neds.
So what did that month before getting the audition look like?
I mean, look, this is a long time ago, and I was a kid. So there's like, there's me now in my 30s and the pursuits I'm on now. And they've never stopped, but I feel like I'm in a new chapter. Like now I'm really in my adult life and in my adult pursuit of my dreams and creating kind of my life as a movie, right? There was the first wave of it when I was a kid, and I didn't know any better, man. It all happened really organically. Like, I saw movies in Georgia when I was a kid. I would recite them back to my parents. They're like, that's funny. Do you want to do community theater? And I was like, yeah. And then I did community theater. And then I had a great time in there, and the heads of the community theater were like, he's really good. He should meet an agent in Georgia. And this was before Georgia was Hollywood East. Georgia was a right-to-work state, which meant no union work, so it was a much smaller industry there. Kind of impossible. But got an agent there, booked a couple commercials. They were like, this kid's good. And then I booked a movie out of Georgia, which led those agents to say, hey, you should go to LA and do something called pilot season, which is audition for stuff that's real in LA for like 3 months at a time. And so that happened, and my parents sat me down, and they were like, in Georgia, this was before we ever went, they were like, hey, we got to talk about something. I was 10 years old, and it was like after school, and it was all serious, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And they're like, so, your agent here thinks, you're good enough to go to LA to audition, maybe do TV shows or movies. You'd have to leave school. Your mom and you would go to LA and pursue this at a time. Like, what do you think about that? And there was like this really serious talk. And I get it now, because for them as adults was a huge decision, like a life-changing decision. It would change a lot of things. And I get kind of the weight that they were bringing the decision to me with, but I was a kid. I was like, why are we talking about this so seriously? Like, sounds great. Like, what do you mean? Yes, it sounds awesome. But yeah, so got out there, booked a few things, and then the second year we went out there, I booked Ned. Okay. So it was this organic process. So even for me, I mean, the month before the Neds audition, I was working with a coach, you know, just getting prepped for the audition.
Yeah.
And then there were rounds of callbacks and booked it. But really, it just came out of this like organic unfolding of my parents recognizing something natural in me and giving me every opportunity to succeed with those natural kind of inclinations I had. And the older I get, the more I'm surprised by it. The more I'm so grateful to them and just blown away that that's what they chose to do with me.
Yeah. It gave you that opportunity. And one thing I noticed too on your Instagram, work harder.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? So is that, because obviously like
Werkheiser, work harder. Yeah.
But yeah, where did that come from? And because I'm a big fan of pushing people to work harder.
Yes.
And how many people don't work as hard as they actually need to make their lives,
make it happen. Yes.
Come true. So
so first it was honestly Chris and Kyle Massey. They're actors also in LA. It came from them. Like Kyle would just call me work harder. Like this was like years ago. We were teenagers. It just what's up, work harder. So he would just call me that for a while, and then so when it came to like starting Instagram, I just like threw up work harder instead of Werkheiser, and it's kind of stuck. And I've laughed at it throughout my life because there have been times when I have needed to work harder, and I just look at that handle and I'm like, wow, I like played myself. Like I'm like pointing at myself some of the time.
But even seeing like from working so young and like I mean obviously long hours and everything too.
Yes, sir.
You've already embodied that.
I got work ethic. I also love to do nothing, and I need to do nothing for much of my life. But I like working hard when it's on something that I really love. You know.